presidential election analysis. And now we will be moving ahead, and joining me for this segment of the discussion, still here, of course, Honorable Gwinga, it's nice to have you here.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to be here.
And joining me, of course, afresh, I must say, just like you said, fresh voters. But this time it's not a question of voting issue. I'm a very seasoned public administrator, Dr. Deji Akinwale. It's nice to have you on the program.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Well, I would then like to start from you. Many have also taken their time to assess this situation, and some did say that this election, to a very large extent, has been credible, despite the itches that were recorded in certain sphere. But in the history of Nigeria's democracy, can we really say there is a lot of improvement recorded in this election, vis-a-vis what's always been the experience of the Nigerian people during elections?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think we should congratulate ourselves that we have been able to achieve this. I think since 1979, I can say I have witnessed elections in Nigeria from my youth as an undergraduate, and now I'm not too young again. I've seen virtually all the elections. I think there is a major leap forward. There is a major improvement, notwithstanding some flaws. And I think we can corroborate this by what have observers, both within and outside, what have they said? What is their own assessment? The ECOWAS monitoring and observation mission, the African Union monitoring and observation mission, the European Union, what have they said? I think they are in unison that there is a major improvement on what we had experienced in the past. And an average person out there will equally agree that yes, notwithstanding some pockets of failures or disappointments and whatnot, that this election is largely free, fair, credible. It's unlike any other election we had, whether in the process, whether in the technology deployed, and perhaps the outcome is quite different, and I think different in a positive way.
Let me read to you a snippet from President Muhammadu Buhari's congratulatory message to the president-elect, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He did say, and I quote, "Within Nigeria, the results reveal democracy is ripening in our country. Never has the electoral map shifted so drastically in one cycle. In the presidential election, states in all regions across the nation changed color. Some amongst you may have also noticed my own country, my home state rather, was amongst them. The winning candidate did not carry his own home state either. That happens during a competitive election. Votes and those that cast them cannot be taken for granted. Each must be earned. Competition is good for our democracy. There's no doubt the people's decision has been rendered in the results we look at today." That's according to President Muhammadu Buhari. Instructive are these words. Votes and those that cast them cannot be taken for granted. I think that's one thing that we must interrogate from the figures that emanated from all the states in this election.
Well, I can see your body language in the first stance of this, my appearance here. You don't want me to talk like a politician because, yes, fine speech by Mr. President, but then no thanks to him. I'm talking as an APC member because I believe APC and Asiwaju will have garnered more votes. But because of the policy the federal government introduced few months to the election, who does that? And we are battling with fuel scarcity before then. So double jeopardy, two main important items that almost every Nigerian need became scarce, and some people lost their life in the process. I watched a man strip himself naked inside. So yeah, we thank Mr. President for giving a very good speech. We thank him as the leader of the country. But personally, he hasn't done well. That's that. Yes, it's expected, but we can't take the success, or it's a mixed feeling. We can't take the success of this credible election away from him. Yes, truth must be told. To a very large extent, this election was not monetized. Yes, the policy affected a lot of things, particularly a lot of people do not vote where they work. They couldn't travel home. There's fuel scarcity, there's cash crunch. You have money in the bank, you cannot access it. So these are the build-up. A lot of angers have already built up in people, and they were determined to vote out APC. That affected the outcome of the election. So, like I said, it's a misfeeling. He did very well by ensuring INEC was really independent in deed and in principle. He did very well on that aspect. But yes, you might have a policy, but why on the eve of a very important election that your party is participating? It's nearly, truncated all the goodwill.
Your views as a member of a political party. Please do know that any moment from now, we will take a break so that we would be able to participate and give you full view of what's going on at the venue of the issuance of certificate of return to the president-elect. That's talking about Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Once the ceremony kicks off and then the place is well situated, then we will be bringing you a blow-by-blow account of what goes on there. Now, Dr. Akinwale, one other thing that catches my attention in the speech, in the congratulatory message, but that's not even a speech as it were, it's this expression. After a degree of polarization that necessarily accompanies any election, it is now time to come together and act responsibly. I call on all candidates to remember the peace pledge they signed just days before the election. Do not undermine the credibility of INEC. Let us now move forward as one. The people have spoken. This is according to President Muhammadu Buhari. To a large extent, isn't this the best call anyone could make at a time like this to sustain the peace, progress, and unity of Nigeria as a nation?
Yeah, the reality today is that the nation is almost brutally polarized, and that portends a lot of danger for this democracy. So that puts the burden not only on the President Buhari, but even for the incoming president to realize that the first major assignment he has to embark upon is national reconciliation. This is not the kind of democracy or politics where you expect that winner takes all. That's not going to work. Whether you are a Tinubite or an articulator or an obedient, whatever you target, we must see that these are Nigerians. So it must be a kind of inclusiveness, a kind of collaboration to pursue the national project and get to be united in harmony with one another once again. It may be difficult to do because there are a lot of hawks around any leader that will be saying that they've lost and you shouldn't bother about them. But I think as a statesman, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has a duty, a very, very critical duty to invite these people and seek ways of working with them at whatever level, by whatever manner.
He's still the president-elect, you agree with me?
Yes.
Not yet
Yes, we are futuristic about it.
What should be his low-hanging fruits while he's preparing to be sworn in as president? Let me see how he views on that.
I think I listened to the president-elect saying something about the youth, and he said, "I heard you loud and clear."
Okay, very loud and clear, of course. We will come back to the loud and clear voices of the people. But then let's quickly get to Abuja and join the exercise of the presentation of certificate of return. We'll be right back.
Please be seated. Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, SAN-GCON. The Senate President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency, Senator Ahmed Lawan, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Femi Gbajabiamila, the President-elect, Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu, and his amiable wife, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, the Vice President-elect, Alhaji Kashim Shettima, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Munguno, retired, all the service chiefs here present, including the IGP, Usman Akali Baba, CFR, the National Chairman of the APC, Alhaji Abdullahi Adamu, Your Excellencies, Executive Governors here present, members of the Federal Executive Council, top government officials here present, senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, members of the House of Representatives, the chairman of INEC himself and national commissioners and secretary to the commission, distinguished members of the political parties that are here, including executive members, gentlemen of the press, my lords, temporal spiritual, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Independent National Electoral Commission, I welcome you all to this very important ceremony. Last Saturday, Nigeria conducted its presidential election, successfully conducted its presidential election, and early this morning, the Chief Electoral Commissioner of the Federation and the returning officer at the presidential election, who is also the INEC Chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, declared the candidate of APC as the winner. It's in that light that we are here today, this afternoon, simply to present the certificates of return to the President-elect, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the Vice President-elect, who's also the former governor of Borno. With that, Chairman of INEC, I will simply invite you to make a few remarks, and then I will invite the President-elect and the Vice President-elect to step up to collect their certificates of return. Okay, I've been advised to simply invite the President-elect to step up to collect the certificate. Thank you. It's my pleasure to now invite the Vice President-elect, Alhaji Kashim Shettima, to step forward and collect his certificate of return.
Holding board. Which side back go? Eh? Alpha. We'll have moved closer to them.
Thank you, please. Now that the President-elect and the Vice President-elect have collected their certificates of return, it's my pleasure to invite the President-elect to make a few remarks, please.
Your Excellency, the Vice President, Yemi Osibajo, Professor Yemi Osibajo, the Vice President-elect, Senator Kashim Shettima, Your Excellencies, our respectable governors here present, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, our dear INEC Chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, and the National Commissioners here present, Honorable Ministers and members of National Assembly, particularly the Senate President and the Speaker, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to stand on the previous protocol enumerated here. You all have my respect and courtesies. As I hold this certificate, this moment is one of the celebration and gladness for us all. The road has been long, yet we walk it. The battle has been hard fought, yet we won it. But more importantly, I realize that I'm just a servant of the larger purpose. You see, this is more than a document of certificate of election, confirming the positive outcome of an election. This important document symbolizes our collective democratic attainment and even loftier aspirations. It represents the impending transfer of most sacred duty and trust from one person to another. At its most sublime, this certificate also symbolizes that each of you has the ability to achieve what other believes is impossible for you to achieve. I stand before you as the President-elect, and yes, that is special. But I am not different than any one of you. If I can do this, you even can do it better. You must do better. Our destiny as a people and a nation depend on our ability to share the artificial restrictions of bias and prejudiced, so that we live fully onto our democratic creed that no one is innately superior or entitled to greater rights and opportunities than any other Nigerian. Very soon, this nation shall witness a young person standing before you, holding this great symbol of democracy and national leadership. We shall see a woman standing before you, holding this certificate as its owner. We shall experience someone from a tribe that many people have tried to dismiss as somehow beginning to disqualify. For this high office, by dint of hard work, determination and unyielding belief in a noble endeavor, you can achieve the best of things. There are young people listening to me right now who shall one day be the leaders of our precious and exceptional democratic republic. Thus, by taking this certificate, I assume a sacred duty I shall never ignore. To you, the people, especially the youth, I will work day and night. I will work to the utmost best of my ability to make Nigeria better. For this to be a victory at all, it cannot simply be a victory for one man or even one party. It must become a victory for all Nigerians who are committed to a greater society. I know many did not vote for me, and you are disappointed that your candidate is not where I stand now. I understand. You hurt. Your anger, disappointment. I send the embrace and comfort of one family member to another. This great project called Nigeria beckons to us all. It is bigger and more important than any partition divide. To my supporters, I ask you to continue to have faith in the mission that we have articulated. To those who didn't support me, I ask that you not allow the disappointment of this moment to keep you from realizing the historic national progress we can make by working together. We must join hands in this common endeavor to pull the nation through. In a phrase, I'm asking you to work with me. I may be the president in election, but I need you more importantly. Nigeria needs you a lot more than just one person. My heart, my door are open to you. I ask you to come in so that we may begin the task of rebuilding our national home together, day by day, brick by brick. Where there is poverty, let us create prosperity and jobs. Where there is hunger, let us feed the people, chasing the hunger from our midst. Where there's no scarcity, let us rediscover the abundance. Where there's brutality, we may replace it with brotherhood. Where there's violence, stock the land, we may establish peace. Where others have erected temples to hatred and bias, we may reconstruct permanent monuments to compassion and abiding affection. History will record that this day as the moment when I officially stood before you as a president-elect. However, I would like to dedicate this day and record it as the moment that we vowed to come together to make Nigeria stand shining forth as the beloved and brave republic that God created for all of us. We are committed to the progress, development, and renew the hope of Nigerians. God bless you.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to recognize the presence of Her Excellency, the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Katrina Lane. Also permit me to recognize the presence of Her Excellency, the European Union Ambassador to Nigeria, Ambassador Samuel La Isopi. Also, representative of the United Nations in Nigeria here present, as well as other members of the diplomatic corps. With the remarks of the President-elect, we have come to the end of this very important national ceremony. We thank you for coming. Let us now rise for the national anthem of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Well, sights and sounds from the venue of the presentation of Certificate of Return to the President-elect, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Of course, you find there very many eminent personalities, including the Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and many other eminent Nigerians, of course, at that event. Still very much with me in the studio, Honorable Binga Amali. Thank you very much for still being here.
Yeah.
Dr. Diakonwale Ray, thank you so much for still being here. Of course, that moment, to a large extent, perhaps it's, let me just know how you would like to describe it. I almost said it's a moment of hope for Nigerians, but to what extent will that really be translated into policies and programs that will really better the lots of the people? I think that's much more important. Of course, Dr. Kewale.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, it's a moment of triumph for the president-elect. It's a moment of hope for Nigerians. The president-elect had made a very great speech, which we expect on occasions like this, giving hope, reassuring Nigerians, and promising to deliver. But I think we are all used to this kind of great speeches. We are probably tired of speeches. So what we are expecting in the days to come, months to come, is ability to transmit these promises into reality. For example, we were talking, he told Nigerians that I heard the youth loud and clear, because it is obvious that the system has been unjust to the Nigerian youth. A lot of them are migrating out of the country on what you call the Japa syndrome. That should be a big shame to any nation of the capacity and capability of Nigeria. The biggest democracy in Africa, Africa's supposed largest economy, and the most useful and vibrant segment of the population are migrating out of this country. I think the president-elect has to learn from what Fola called mass movement against second slavery. Because that is where we are. That our children before our own eyes are leaving their fatherland. Some had promised never to get back. Some are tearing their passport as soon as they get to those other lands. No matter how demeaning the job they are doing may be, they do not want to come back to Nigeria. So this is a great challenge for Asiwaju. What is he going to do in terms of youth engagement? You have ministry of
youth,
yes, he can do, because
and
he knew.
to a large extent, some people
Yes,
think
he has said it. He has said it several times. Yesterday, now he said it. But in concrete terms, what do we want? One, the youth are frustrated. They are angry. So they need pacification. But how do you pacify them? It is not through great speeches. It is not through all these nice words and whatever. They are expecting things like youthful employment. How do we get job for thieving graduates who are young. How do we prevent? I mean, he made a promise that when you get to university, you will have access to credit. I think that will be one of the revolutionary things he will do, and be history will praise him for, if we can reintroduce credit to our university or higher institution system, that people can take loan. When they take loan and they graduate within the record time, equally promise that a child will not enter university at the age of 16 and graduate at the age of 30, spending 8 to 10 years in university. Coming in as an adolescent now is becoming an old woman, but probably difficult to get a husband because of age. So these are issues that the president had to, and some of these things are not rocket science. It's not too difficult to solve some of these problems. Remember, President Jonathan gave 1 billion to Nollywood. And today we seem not to know the implication of that. It was that a lot of that money had helped today to escalate the quality, the standard of our filmmaking to the level that Nollywood is a global brand now. Our music is all over the world. Our musicians, they are the video, and a lot of them, they are popular all over. Go to Malaysia, go to India, they are dancing. That is because of the intervention of the president, and that was done during Jonathan. So the president had to invest in the arts for the youth. Whether you want to go into acting, whether you want to do music, whether it's virtual arts or whatever, these are areas, or sports. We were doing national sports in this country. A lot of talents were discovered, whether in athletics, whether in football. But today, those have become once upon a time story. So these are areas, these are areas where youth needed to deploy their energy. And a lot of our governments are not taking consideration of this. They are behaving and acting as if this government is for gerontocrats alone, people in their 80s or in their 90s. So that is why people are angry, and he realized that, and they have been able to demonstrate that to him in his own home state, that you are not satisfying, or we are not happy with you. He lost Lagos. And that's almost an unbelievable thing. But that's to tell you the power of the youth. Recall that sometimes ago, Lagos was the hub of the NSAR something. They are articulate, they are young. The civil society is very strong there. So this is an area that the president-elect has to address: youth, education, employment. I think the opportunities are there. Build infrastructure. It's not just merely digital infrastructure. That these areas that our children, they are cities. They call them netizens. They are digital natives. They are born into it. So an average young person, he doesn't need to go to school or computer before he can do a lot of magic. On the handphone or the computer. So these are talents that we must go for, harvest them, deploy them, develop them, and I'm sure by so doing, the youths will be pacified, and they will see that, yes, we can have something different from what they had experienced in the past. And of course, we must recall that, look at the average year of people in government. We are doing the whole thing as if this is a bad society where you move by progression. It's your age and your something that will determine becoming an Oba. And by the time you won't become an Oba until you are almost 90. So for how long will the youth wait to get political inclusion in this country? So why must the job, why do we expect youths at this level of our development that the best they can do for politicians is to be caregivers, applauding them, composing songs for them to entertain their own passion? So these are areas that any president should look into. It is better to handle it at this level before it snowballs into a revolution. We are very close to the precipice.
Well, we do hope that that will not happen. Of course, that's not going to be a prayer, but actions really must back that up. Now, Honorable Mali, if Dr. Akinwale talked about the issue of the youth, I seem so passionate about that. But in the midst of all of this, if there is no security, all of this cannot have a place to stay or stand its foot. So, what will be the first steps that should be taken by the president-elect once he becomes president, full-fledged president, in dealing with the security, economic problems and challenges that Nigeria currently faces?
Thank you very much. Like I said earlier on, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president-elect Nigeria, is well prepared for this position. And the manifesto of APC...
How do you know he's well prepared?
He was a former
Is it
governor.
through his speech?
It's not about when we say somebody is prepared, you talk about everybody has what we call antecedent.
Very well.
We know his antecedent when it comes to something like this. Yes, he has not been at this stage in governance before, but then he doesn't need to be there. It's always a first timer, and it's not a rookie when it comes to politics. For somebody to successfully, administer Lagos for 8 years, Lagos state alone is a chunk of the economy in Africa, and he did it successfully. Somebody that was governor and was deprived of the federal allocation, monthly allocation for almost 2 years, and Lagos came back stronger. And even the template he laid down in Lagos was copied by several others. So when I said he's prepared, I know he's prepared. Okay. So he is wearing the shoes now. He will be guided by the party manifesto, but personally, he's going to put his personality into government, which is very, very important. So I'm not envying him because he's inheriting a lot of problems. Like doctor said, Nigeria is at the precipice already. In fact, truth must be told. I've not seen Nigeria ever divided like this before. It's just that it's prayer and that this country, God loves this country, and that Nigeria will still be. It was pronounced in this election, if we must say the truth. The indices are there. The way votes went to each of the candidates speaks a lot about our religion, belief, our ethnicity, and all that. So this is a president. This is the second time he's making a speech after he has been announced, and he's hammering. He's talking about one Nigeria, unity, and particularly he's mentioning the youth. He said he heard them loud and clear. We were in a meeting with him on Tuesday last week in Lagos, and the youth demanded that they want him to split the Ministry of Youth and Sport, that they want to have Ministry of Youth. And going by his speech now, two speech, and he's still hammering on youth. So I won't be surprised if that comes. We have agriculture there, security. I know Asiwaju that we know, he has knacked. God gave him that gift to look for and source for good Nigerians who can deliver. If he can do that at the level of a state government, I know he will do that. Asiwaju was governor between 1999 and 2007. Where are the other governors at that class? He's a destined child. He's prepared. Like I told somebody yesterday, when the results were coming in, I said, out of all these candidates, most of them prepare for a sprint. Asiwaju prepare for a marathon. This is a race. This is something that he has set his eyes on the ball. Do you think, how did the APC come on board? It was an alliance between the Southwest, particularly, and the North. And the game plan then, the plan was that Buhari will be president, Asiwaju will be vice president. But then some people came up with the issue of Muslim ticket. Did we not vote for Muslim ticket 8 years after now? So what will definitely be. I keep on saying Asiwaju is prepared for this, and I know he's going to be successful. He's going to assemble. You will see, it won't take him long before he announces the names of his ministers. That will show you that he's prepared. He knows Nigeria in and out. He's the only candidate. There's no campaign after election, but he was the only candidate that traversed the length and breadth of this country during the election. We saw some candidates that did not even go to some.
Now, taking a look at the need to also look at how Nigeria will continue on the path, or perhaps returns to the path of prosperity. Now, there are challenges of food scarcity. There are challenges of
Naira scarcity.
That's even one thing. I'm talking about having refineries that are not refining anything, yet being serviced and all of that. Should that also not be one of the things that should top the programs and policies of the incoming administration? Dr. Akinwelere.
Oh, yes, thank you very much. We are an oil-producing country, and it's an irony. It's a major paradox that we cannot get fuel to you. They say water everywhere.
Nothing
Nothing to drink. Nigeria is a country of contradictions. So, but we know there are a lot of politics undercurrent. I mean, a lot of political undercurrents around whether our refinery can work or we are able to produce something. And I believe some people had been trading on this matter. So the moment we are able to get a president, incidentally, the incoming president had worked in the oil and gas industry. He made his name in that area before coming to politics. So he has seen it all. There are a lot of international politics going on with our oil wealth. We are not too sure whether the NNPC has a correct figure of how many millions of a barrel of crude oil that is exported. There are a lot of politics surrounding the turnaround maintenance. Some people are just there year in, year over, battling with turnaround maintenance of our refineries, and yet it had never worked. So it takes a responsible, patriotic, and responsive leader who knows the problem. All our leaders know the problem, but the will to attack this problem and resolve it, I think that is where we have problem. And with what we are saying, I think what can put his bet on it, that Asiwaju should be able to get these basic things for Nigeria. In any case, for those of them who are trading on this and making it and dispensing suffering to Nigerians, it won't be long. The entire world, there is a paradigm shift about oil and gas, whatever. People are buying, they are going for maybe solar powered, electric powered, something. So it won't be long. But before that time, before that time comes, I think we need a president that will be able to put a stop to the corruption, deep-rooted corruption involving all the big political elites in this country.
The president-elect will be able to have that fiber to really dig into the corruption net and ensure that people are accountable to those that voted them into power, or the position they've been appointed to. They're not just enriching themselves.
I think we should look at the background of the president-elect. You may see him today as an old man. He had been historically an activist, civil rights campaigner, human rights activist, everything. People who knew that something was fundamentally wrong with the Nigerian system and had profiled solutions over the years on the better alternative to the system we are running. So I do not have much doubt, or let me say I have hope, that given his background, his pedigree, as a fighter, he's a fighter, that he should be able to fight the cabal that have put Nigerians in chains over the years. And those are things that I know he should be able to do strategically. He's a strategist.
Let me just stay with you, Dr. Akinwalere. I will work day and night. So said the president-elect in the speech he just gave while receiving the certificate of return. But you see, age is very important in everything, if you agree with me. President Muhammadu Buhari, the incumbent, did say in one of the interviews he granted that he wished that he was younger before becoming president, that he would have been able to do so many things he wished he can do. Now, will this not also play out in the case of the president-elect?
I think one or two things we equally will have to be considered here. What is your basic cognitive endowment? How much of governance do you know? So if you know why you are in this office, it shouldn't be too difficult for you to operationalize the office. Okay. The job of the president does not, you don't need to be a hero, you don't need to be a martyr for anybody. There is a system that is there that allocates responsibility for ministries, for agencies, for all manners of institutions. So we have the terrible nature that we want to appropriate all powers onto ourselves, and I don't think that should be the way he should go. So gather, of course, he has a record to be a headhunt. I mean, people who hunt for talent. And you can see that in his past records that this man knows how to look for the best in a particular area, I mean, in a particular sector, and put him there. Engineer, he knows who to look for. Accounting, he knows who to look for. Sport, he knows. So we believe that he has to bring this to government. Surround yourself with competent people, not people selected on basis of primordial or ethnic or religious interest. Put the best. Nigeria have more than enough people that can salvage this country. So what we need is a president that can identify these talents, assemble them, and let him go. Let him just be a supervisor.
Coordinator.
Not somebody coordinator.
Well,
not
you
somebody.
brought us to yet another issue we've been harping on, and that's the issue of strengthening institutions.
Okay.
For instance, you talked about the independence of INEC. In fact, its name starts with Independent National Electoral Commission. How independent is INEC today? You also find the ICPC, FCC, and all of those other things talking about recommending what would work to the president-elect. And I think, let me quickly also have the view of Honorable Mole in that regard. Do you think that much work should really be focused on in strengthening institutions this time around, perhaps to be able to correct some of the abnormalities that have come to stay with us?
You are saying the obvious, moderator. What Nigeria lacks years back is what we get now. Nigeria has everything to be the best nation in this world. God has endowed us with all human, material, minerals, resources, everything. But we need a driver who knows his onions, who can take us to the next level.
Does this driver have a license?
This is not even, I assure you, did not even say it's a driver, and I say it's a conductor.
Oh,
That
yeah,
was
okay.
why.
It's
So you know, so what we need is just somebody that is experienced, that knows what to do at the right time, and like Doctor said, he has a record of headhunting for the best material if your product can rise to the level of becoming the vice president of Nigeria. I mean, what else can we say? That says a lot about you, a lot about your personality, a lot about what you can do. So with Nigeria is lucky to have Asiwaju as the president at this very critical moment in our life, and I believe so much in him that he will do a lot. Yes, Rome was not built in a day. A lot of things have degenerated to the level that it may take a miracle to revive them. But with God and with cooperation of Nigeria, yes, our institution needs to be strengthened if we have to move forward. And I know he will do that. We're talking of power failure, electricity supply is bad. These are things that we can turn around in 6 months, 1 year. And if we can solve the problem of power in Nigeria, it will make life so easy, and the prices of commodities will go down, and a lot of SME will come up, because mostly we depend on electricity to do a lot of what we are doing. I mean, the prices of commodities and even hotels are high because they spend so much on diesel. You know how much the liter of a diesel is now. So, but if we can have power supply for 20 hours in a day, this will have an effect in all the facets of economy in Nigeria, and Nigeria will
How well do you think that resonates with Nigerian people talking about fixing power problem? You just said again, within 6 months to 8 months and all of that.
Yes.
Remember that this was one of the very critical points raised by your party, the APC, prior to 2015 and 2019.
We all know what happens with the discourse. You don't need to go into details. They sold those soldiers to people who are not competent. That is the truth.
Do you see that getting corrected?
Definitely. Do you remember Asiwaju as governor of Lagos State started IPP, Independent Power Generation Project? No, so this man is full of ideas. Come on, give it to him.
All right, let me come back to you, Dr. Akinwalere. When President Muhammadu Buhari was taking his inaugural speech, one thing that was profound and became talking point then was that I belong to nobody, I belong to everybody. And Nigerians are expecting that this man will step on toes and make things work. Well, the fact speaks for itself. That's what lawyers will tell you in the Latin word. But with this situation now, you find the President-elect, Ashwaji Bola Tinubu, coming out to say, I will work day and night, I will do this. The youths, we have the pride of place, women, and so on and so forth. How sure are you that there will not be a repeat of the Nigerian people's experience in the current dispensation with the Tinubu presidency when it eventually comes to bear?
Well, I'm not a futurologist, but we are in a season of renewed hope. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a totally different persona from General Buhari. So whatever Buhari decided to do, whatever Providence allowed him to do, I think that should be the problem for historians to be recording. Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is there now, and he has the challenge to match his words with action, working for these people. I think by his age, he should consider it the rarest privilege and matter of mercy, God's mercy, that he can get to this position in spite of all the hurdles, all the bars, all the whatever. It's like the Latin something, parado ad astra. He had gotten to this through bars and posts, through a lot of obstacles. So he has a duty to be thankful to God. And the only way you can show your thanks, your appreciation to God, is to do good to the people. So if Buhari couldn't be for anybody, I think Asiwaju should reconstruct that statement and let the whole nation know that he's going to genuinely work for us, and that we will begin to see it will manifest, it will spring forth. I think those are the things. We said earlier that we are used to great advocacy, good speeches. It is not sufficient for him now to have the best of Ministry of Information, to be doing propaganda, or to have a NOAA that will be mobilizing people and encouraging you to support a government that is not functional. The level of you know how tough it's been. When you see the result of the party, you know that anybody will say, oh God, I thank you. That it's just sheer mercy. Yeah. Because it is apparent that Nigerians do not want this generation of political leaders. It was obvious there. Nigerians spoke. And it is a language you don't need any interpreter to say that we are tired of this system that we have been running for the past 23 years. So if somebody has opportunity to be the chief conductor, as he tagged himself now, he has to bring the so-called unity. But we have to see work in action. What are you doing to address unemployment? What are you doing to address insecurity? In fact, the most critical areas, because some of these issues, they come up from one single problem Nigeria has, and that is the problem of over-centralization. Researchers, academics, they've gone sufficient work about it, that Nigeria is too centralized. It is not running like a federal system. All the powers, all the juicy ministry, everything is concentrated on the federal government. So we are waiting for a president that should be able to look at this and find a way to decentralize power to the lower tiers of government. The state governments have a lot of things that they can do, but the constitution do not allow them. Security is there. Why must you have one single Nigerian police force? So why are we allowing a situation that where governments are capable at the state level to help solve some problem, and we are preventing them from doing it? Why should there be no state police? Why should there be no local government police authority? These are things that had worked before, but because of our peculiar history, we criminalize them because we want power. So everybody is fighting. Everybody who gets to Abuja today, everybody is fighting against state police. So why would we not have state police? Why should vigilantes not function if they are properly registered? So these are issues that every security forces do not need to be run and owned by the federal government. Go to some other civilized places where we are copying their democracy. You will find in an Akure, you will find Akure mayoralty police. You will find some in charge of traffic, specific functions. But when you concentrate power, because we love power so much, we love power, we don't love the people that give us the power. So that's the irony there. So we hope that the old man would face the reality that Nigerians want a restructured nation. No matter the interpretation, the conceptualization that people are given onto it, but the single point is that do not run Nigeria like a unitary government, as if we are in a unitary state where every action, every initiative must cascade from Abuja down to.
So do you think the issue of resource control would really be addressed by a Tinubu presidency when it really comes to bear, especially considering what's been the bane of resource control? They will tell you have minerals at your backyard, but no, it's the exclusive pursuit of the federal government. Still talking about the centralization
I think
that we're talking about.
I think those ones still fall within the larger concept of fiscal federalism. So how can you have oil in Ondo State and somebody is telling you cannot touch it? Go to Osun here, you find Chinese, mining their gold there. You find federal agents mining their gold, and they send policemen, military men, to give a backup to those Chinese people doing business in a village in Osun, and the local Oba there, the local government chairman, or perhaps the governor, they do not know about it. So these are issues that some things we can let go. For the past, since 1979, they've been running this constitution. You get to some areas, mining is their own exclusive preserve, but can that continue when there are a lot of resources here and nothing had happened? Our bitumen is there for how many years? Nothing is happening. Nothing is happening because it belongs, Ondo State cannot freely go there. So I think these are issues. Nobody can tell you. Well, I told you I'm not a futurologist.
Of course.
You can allow Honorable Omole to
do
that.
I'm not a
You
prophet.
can do the prophecy.
I also know that he won't claim to be a prophet.
I'm not a prophet.
But then, let me have your view on the issues of resource control and true federalism to be able to really move Nigeria from where it is currently, perhaps to, people high it as envisaged by many Nigerians that, you see, before this election, many people had said this is going to be a make or my election. Yeah. But indeed, it didn't matter. But perhaps it's making the Nigerian state better. But how well will it make the Nigerian state better if all of the yearnings and aspirations of the citizenry do not really come to fulfillment?
Thank you very much. If you look at the body language, not even body language, the action of the governors in the Southwest, they are tilting towards not only the Southwest, even the Southern. Fortunately for us, we have our vocal and courageous governor who is the chairman of the Southern Governors Forum, who has been a champion in the cause of this rotational presidency. We give it to him. He led his colleague to fight for this, and we got it. We say thank you to him. And in the issue of federalism and this resource control you are talking about, we demonstrated it by establishing the Southwest Nigeria Security Network, coded Amotekun. We are moving towards that. That is a signal to other parts of Nigeria that we here, we are resolute, we have a leader who is determined, who is resolute, and who believe there must be levels of security. Like you said, everything cannot be centralized in Abuja. Abuja cannot know what is happening here. When a crime is being committed in Ondo State, it's the people around here that we first know before. When they are just calling the governor the chief security officer of their state. Whereas the governor does not have a right, he doesn't have a right over the commissioner of police. The commissioner of police takes order from the IG. So these are the things we are saying. And I know that this is not going to be business as usual. we are going to have, by the grace of God, we are going to have levels of security management, architecture. In United States of America, we have the federal police, we have the NYPD, that's New York Department, to the local level. That is how it should be. That is the way to go if we really want to. And once we get security right, we fix electricity. That definitely will create job. And when we create job, there will be, security. There will be peace. When a lot of people are not going to crimes, you understand? I was in Ghana recently at the square there. People that are selling commodities, they left it there. People will buy and their colleague will collect money for them and keep for them. It can't happen here for now. That's the truth of the matter. When we are having kidnapping, people are being kidnapped. You are now talking of keeping your goods. They will even take your goods and wait for you to come and kidnap you. So we have a long way to go, and we thank God that Asiwaju is the president-elect. Like I say, I have absolute confidence in him that is going to change the narrative.
Well, I hope and pray that many Nigerians also share your optimism. Dr. Akiwadere, well, we've been talking about expectations and all of those other things, but the leaders the people get the kind of leaders they deserve. Agree with me. What should be the change of attitude, the attitudinal change that the people should also have in this dispensation that perhaps might be able to help have a retooled history as far as Nigeria is concerned?
Well, let me equally say that a nation, or maybe a leader, a national leader, will get the kind of followership. That is the manner he runs this nation will determine how well the people will believe in him, will support him, and
also behave.
It has a lot to do with that. If he gets there and you talk of the low-hanging fruits, if within maybe 6 months, he's able to convince our teeming youth that, my children, you don't need to go overseas. These are opportunities that are available. You are a graduate, this is employment scheme that we are running and we can see it running. You go back to school and of course he make a pronouncement that, okay, this is the credit I promise you, you can get bursary. So an average student, and there are very many, the parents will be happy if some of these things can be done, and that will be a kind of positive reinforcement for you. But if you go there and it is still the same thing you are doing that we have been used to for the past 23 years, then you should expect Nigeria to come out in a more monstrous way, in a more angry and frustrating way. It's a matter of action and reaction that will determine what attitude that the citizenry will show concerning their leader. I equally want to make a comment. You know, we were talking of the failure. These are confirmed issues that centralized states all over Africa had failed. They have failed. There is no exemption where you have power so concentrated. And now this failure unfortunately, had been a kind of excuse for state government. You know, at the federal level, they have failed. Now, state governments all over Nigeria are equally using that as an excuse. So many of them are performing below expectation. So the expectation now is that if an Asiwaju presidency is able or capable of demonstrating hard work, seriousness, resilience, and, you know, we can see the achievement coming into play, I think a lot of our governors will tighten their belt. I think a lot of the governors in Nigeria see this job as a job where, well, the glory there is being followed by 40 vehicles in your convoy. Like the Yoruba will say, my friend in Oyo, they say, only Okobere la fimo gomina. So if that is what governors are still thinking about, I think Asiwaju is likely to change that kind of. We must have a government that should, you know, reduce the cost of governance. Let people do their job. Why are you them? I mean, just running all about as if you have no job to do in your ministry as a minister, as if you have no job to do as a governor. Your impression is just running all over the place, demonstrating your wealth and something, or running after the president. So we hope Tinubu's government will be a little different from this traditional way, where you revel in ability to meet your passion and meet your indulgences in government. So the cost of governance must be addressed. How many ministers are we having? Who are these ministers? So how are we developing, how are we reducing the wastefulness that you have in our government? So these are issues. The moment the citizenry can see that you are doing well, they are ready to pay their tax. They are ready to if you even increase taxation and duties in some areas, they will see the reason why you are doing that. Awolowo imposed tax to sponsor the free education in those days. People rioted in many places, but the moment they saw that, okay, you mean with this little amount, I can send as many children as possible to school? I said, yes. It's just per capita by your head. You pay this amount. You have 4 children. He is free to go to school. So they reason with him. But if you are taking the mineral resources of a state, you are you are destroying the ecosystem of that community. And now you are asking them to come and sing national anthem for you. I mean, I think things won't work that way.
Somebody said, I cannot start Nigeria without my strength again.
He was already tired. But then, he has talked about the issue of tax payment, and that's actually one area that we must not lose sight of. But if the people would also perform their civic responsibility, perhaps that will also help in entrenching good governance and development. So let me have your view on that too before I close up.
Yeah, definitely. Once the citizens have confidence in a particular government, I mean, they will cooperate with that government. And when we talk about that, if you see what your government is doing with the tax, definitely people will comply. It's as simple as that. It's very easy to rule educated people. You understand? And if you are open to them, you tell them the truth, and they see what is happening, they will cooperate. It's as simple as that.
Now, before we go, Dr. Akinwale, come March 11, there will be rounds of elections again in many states. Perhaps in all these states anyway.
Like 28 states.
There will be houses of assembly elections. There will be governorship elections in certain places. Now, looking at the turnout of the people in last Saturday's election, what do you think needs to be retooled to have a better outing in these forthcoming state elections?
Yeah, I think most critically we must escalate the security architecture to ensure that people can go out and vote without any fear of molestation and attack. I think we have some pockets of intimidation here and there. I think we have to take cognizance of that. I think there are some flashpoints in the country which will be born out of desperation that, how can we lose in this place? And you want to do everything. I think the government should take cognizance of that. There are some areas people are ready to do everything. But when we position the security people appropriately,
security must be
well escalated. And of course, you've talked about the issue, a lot of debates now going on about your BVA uploading results and so on, and whether there were plans to hack an account or not. I don't know details of that. But I think we must be men of our words. I think experts too will equally know how to protect a website to the extent that it won't be easy to hack it. So let us not find cheap excuses for our deficiencies.
Okay, in 60 seconds.
Let me join my
60 seconds, please.
I want to say that I'm still disappointed on Nigerians not coming out in large number in the last election. We have, according to INEC, 93 million registered voters that we have.
And 87
million collected IBVC. only 25 million participated in that. This just concluded presidential. That shows that less than 30% of the people came out. You can imagine if we even have like 50%, that would be like addition of like 10 to 20 million to the vote. And that would have changed a lot.
So there must be a better turnout in this election.
There is going to be better turnout in states where there will be gubernatorial election. Because from history, people take gubernatorial election more seriously.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with me on the program. Dr. Yakewalere, it's been nice having those very, very profound thoughts you shared with us. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
Everyone, thank you so much for being part of it. Of course, as events unfold, we will keep coming to your screen and telling you what exactly is happening. Trust us. There will also be a blow-by-blow account of goings on once the state election will be coming up on the 11th of March. Thank you so much for being part of this program. Of course, I remain yours, Sunday Kolawole. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
It'll keep you big, Nigeria.